بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين أما بعد رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. Alhamdulillah, we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for all the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Alhamdulillah, we are on part 12 on happy marriage. What are the secrets to a happy marriage life? Inshallah ta'ala, today we have looked previously part 1, 2, 3, 4 up to part 12 today inshallah ta'ala. We have looked at the benefits. What are the sunnahs? When selecting a wife, what should you be taking into consideration? And when you select a husband to marry you, what should you be taking into consideration when you are proposing now, ready to propose for that particular woman that you want? What should you be thinking? And also, aqdun nikah, when the marriage contract is about to be performed or when it is being performed, what are the most important things to consider and what are the things that invalidate that particular marriage? What are the things to consider for that marriage to be valid? We've talked about it in part 10 and 11. Today, inshallah ta'ala, what we want to look at in part 12, inshallah, what becomes halal, what becomes permissible once that contract has taken place, an agreement of that contract, a marriage contract, aqdun nikah, once it has taken place, whether it is in the mosque, whether it is at home, and you said, qabiltu, I agreed to the terms of the contract of that particular marriage, living with that woman properly and according to how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants. And when we decide to part company, is to go away without big fights and all this. فَإِمْسَاكٌ بِمَعْرُوفٍ أَوْ تَسْرِيحٌ بِإِحْسَانٍ. Leave her when you decide you don't want her and everything. Islam has not made it very, very difficult. You want her, you want to love her, you want to take care of her, look after her and everything. Alhamdulillah, you decided that's it, you don't want. It does not force you, Islam, the deen does not force you to be with somebody. You are free to live nicely the way it has started nicely. Things that becomes, the things that change as soon as the agreement has happened, as soon as that contract was agreed, these are the following changes that immediately take place. First and foremost, حِلُّ اسْتِمْتَاعِ كُلٍّ مِّنَ الزَّوْجَيْنِ. Each and every one of the husband and wife now becomes halal with each other. Sexual intercourse, sleeping with one another becomes halal. What was haram just few minutes ago, now it became halal, and in fact you will be rewarded. وَفِي بُضْعِ أَحَدِكُمْ صَدَقَةً. Sleeping with one another, that sexual intercourse, the halal way, it is sadaqah. You will be rewarded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What was just haram before the contract was agreed, before you said qabiltu, I agreed, therefore now becomes halal. Another change that happens, wujubul mahri al-musamma. The dowry, Islamic dowry, mahr, becomes wajib once you have agreed. So the woman, لها المطالبة مهما شاءت, she has the right to demand that mahr as soon as that contract is agreed. She has the right, therefore the mahr becomes wajib. We will come to explain what it is, how much it is, do you pay half, do you pay full, do you not pay, and everything. We'll come to explain in the following episode inshallah ta'ala. Another thing, number 3, what becomes wajib upon you as the husband. Therefore this is very important. When you are entering into this contract, you must be very wise and know that you are able to fulfill your responsibilities, because an-nafaqa, it becomes wajib for you to feed the woman, to clothe the woman and to give her shelter, a place to stay. Therefore, these three things, she is not begging you to feed her. She is not begging you to clothe her. She is not begging you to also offer shelter. It is a must in Islam. Therefore, if you cannot take this responsibility, do not. The Prophet ﷺ said, يا معشر الشباب من استطاع منكم الباءة فليتزوج. If you can, if you have the ability, you have the means, get married. If you can't, fast. Therefore, you must be able to fulfill these responsibilities. Number 4, immediate change as soon as the agreement was agreed. وجوب طاعة الزوجة زوجها. It becomes a must for the wife now to obey the husband. When she wants to leave the house, when she wants to travel, when she wants to fast the sunnah. So she must be obeying the husband. That is part of the contract. Number 5, ثبوت حرمة المصاهرة. A wife's mother becomes haram for you to marry. Her own sister becomes haram for you to marry at the same time with her. So there is an immediate change. You cannot marry her mother becomes your mother-in-law. You can no longer marry her unless you divorce your wife. Therefore, you can marry her sister. So this is just temporary. And also another thing that changes is those children who are going to be as a result, the offspring who are going to be conceived as a result of this marriage becomes yours now. They will be yours and they will take your name. Before that agreement, you could not have been said to be the father. So alhamdulillah, in a halal way, as soon as you said qabiltu, I have agreed, now these children who are going to be as the result of this marriage, you will be the father of them. When they die, those children, you will be entitled to the will, and also if you die, and if they die, so the will take place. You will have the right on the will, and they will have the right on your will. And also, number 7, what will change immediately is that حق الإرث بين الزوجين. Each one of you has the right on the other if they die. If a husband dies, the wife immediately, as soon as that agreement was agreed, the wife has the right to inherit you. And also the right of inheritance. And also as soon as the wife dies, the husband has the right of inheritance, to inherit one another. Therefore, just the way your child will be yours and they will be able to inherit you and you will be able to inherit them, so similarly, as soon as that agreement was agreed, you will also inherit your wife, or she will inherit you if one of you was to depart this dunya. There are other things to consider. Some people tend to perform this contract, عقد النكاح, while they are planning for the marriage. عقد النكاح in Islam, it is the marriage itself. While the marriage irs is going to take place, probably some people do a small nikah at home while they're planning for things. Therefore, there are some very important things to consider, some important advice to consider as the husband. As soon as that contract was agreed, whether it is between just you and the father and the witnesses, or whether it was done in the house, or whether it was done in the masjid, as soon as you said قبلت نكاحها وتزويجها على المهر المتفق عليه, as soon as you have agreed, she becomes your wife. Marriage, the happiness where the women get together and the male get together and the walima and everything else, those are the extras. Therefore, the husband immediately has right on the wife, and the wife has the right on the husband immediately. Therefore, but there are certain cultures or something, while the husband is planning, while he's finishing his studies, while he's coming back or something, planning himself to do the i'lanun nikah, to inform everyone. So they plan themselves, and there are certain things to consider, inshallah ta'ala. One, it is very important that this period between when the nikah is performed and when you want to do that marriage celebration, it should not be very long. It should not be very long, because officially people around do not know that you are married to each other, because it was just done at home in a small nikah. Therefore, it is extremely important not to prolong it. And also, if you prolong and the wife is still staying in his father's home, there will be interferences from family members. What is happening? How come he's still leaving you here? How much does he send you? Why are you agreeing to waste your time? Why is he wasting your life? If he doesn't want you, just ask him. He married you, but he's not with you yet. This on that. Therefore, it becomes very difficult. Therefore, the period should not be prolonged. And also, al-i'tidalu fi ziyara. Very important on visiting your wife. Who is your wife? You should be very careful, very considerate, because you shouldn't be coming daily at all times and everything, because there are people around or family members who still do not know you as the husband. Therefore, it is very important to take care of that particular period. And also, عدم التأخير ليلا. Be very careful not to come to your father-in-law's house where your wife is staying, to come late at night. People around, the neighbors, do not know that you're married to them. Therefore, or decide to leave late at night and everything, or phoning until very late at night and all that. It might not be very wise. Therefore, it is extremely important. Al-i'tidalu fil khuruj. And also be very, very considerate on when you are leaving the house. Do not come 10, 11 o'clock at night to be going out for dinners and everything. It is your halal, you can do it and everything, but it is still not known by the community. Your family members and the neighbors still have no idea that you are married to each other. Therefore, it is very important. Otherwise, somebody will come in the morning and say to the father, I found your daughter last night at 2 o'clock. She has left with a man. Or she came very late when you were sleeping. She came to the house. So therefore, to avoid all these confusions, keep things in good order, inshallah ta'ala. And also, one of the most important things, she is your wife. You're entitled to give her love. You're entitled to gift her things, but be very considerate. Do not give so much and do not give so little, because she can be confused. Because if you're giving so much, alhamdulillah, and everything, and then once you start living with each other and suddenly you're not giving, she will think, oh, mashallah, what life is so beautiful under this man, mashallah, he's so generous and everything, and then suddenly you've gone back to your routine and your normal self. Be yourself. Give, alhamdulillah, as much as you can, but be reasonable on what you're giving. Do not overgive, do not give very little to give a bad impression. And also, do not force her to do certain things. For example, leaving late at night while his dad is not happy. It is your right to live with your wife whenever you want, to sleep with her and everything, but the father, because people do not know and everything, might not allow her to leave the house after 9 in the evening. Say, no, I am your husband. Your father does not have a right to tell you, now choose your father. No, you shouldn't push her so much to do these things. Take care of these things. Another important thing, inshallah, we have already spoken about, inshallah. Quickly, just to repeat, there are some important things to consider and which could invalidate the whole marriage. For the marriage to be valid, when the marriage contract is performed, it is very important to know the name of the woman that you're marrying. For example, a father can have 3-4 girls. So when I am marrying you to one of my girls, who is it? It must be specified. I am marrying you to my daughter Fatima with the dowry of this amount of money. There is nothing better than clarifying everything. So otherwise the marriage will not be valid. Who are you married? There's 5 of them. Who is it? I am marrying you, my daughter. So it must be specified. Number 2, الرضا. قبول كل من الزوجين بالآخر. Each one of you should be content and happy. There is no forced marriage in Islam. Forced marriage is not allowed. A marriage will be invalid if either either husband or wife is forced into this. If the father forced his boy, or if the father of the daughter was to force her daughter to marry somebody, that marriage can be invalidated. It is not valid. The Prophet ﷺ refused that kind of marriage. And also, one of the most important thing, it is the agreement of the wali, the guardian, the wali, and the present of the wali during that marriage contract. And also, in attendance, there should be 2 just witnesses to witness that marriage. And we said, and must make it clear, at the time of divorce, witnesses are not a must. It is okay to make people to witness, but it is not a must that they should be witnessing the divorce. As soon as you say that I've divorced you, that's it. And also for the marriage to be valid, things that could invalidate marriage should not be there. For example, you shouldn't be marrying somebody who is haram for you to marry. Your sister, your mother, your daughter, your brother's daughter, your sister's daughter, a list we've already specified in the previous lectures. And also, for example, the woman to be a Muslim and the husband to be a non-Muslim. This marriage is automatically invalid. Therefore, that should not be happen. In Islam, there is an exception where a husband can marry Ahlul Kitab, the people of the book, the Jews and the Christians. But a lot of scholars tend to think very, very wisely when selecting the mother who will give the good Islamic upbringing to your own children. Make sure you choose. It is one of the most important thing in the successful marriage is to make the right choice. And selecting a wife who fears Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who loves Allah, who loves her religion, who loves her deen, will be the recipe for success, inshallah ta'ala. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless us and bless our marriages, inshallah ta'ala. The next lecture, inshallah ta'ala, or the next episode, we will look into the dowry in Islam. Mahr. How much is it? When do you give full? When do you give half? There is the guidance in the Quran. Inshallah, we'll look into that. Wa sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam.
ربنا انفعنا بما علمتنا رب علمنا الذي ينفعنا رب فقهنا وفقه أهلنا وقرابات لنا في ديننا